On paper, stage 15, short and flat, looked perfect for the world champion to get victory number 22 of his Tour career. On the road, a breakaway got out ahead and the other sprinters' teams declined to chase it. With bodyguard duty for Bradley Wiggins the #1 priority for Sky, they weren't going to chase either, so that was it for Cav's chances. Up front, the break was turning into a rerun of stage 12 with a Garmin rider up against a Frenchman, with Christian van der Velde playing the David Miller role and Pierrick Fedrigo making a very good Frenchman.
They've got to form an alliance here, Phil, for the next few kilometres to build on the lead that they've got over the chasers, because they know the responses will come.
It takes you back to 2006, the race to Gap. Fedrigo was the winner. He was clear with Van der Velde. Van der Velde crossed the line in third. Now they are together and clear. It's a difficult situation. Once you get the gap, they don't know which one will chase. The one that chases uses energy that he's trying to save to win the day.
Well, they can't keep jumping like this. As you said, Phil, they need to organise. They need to start sharing the pace if they want to bring back that gap. It's 10 seconds and Voeckler jumps again. He wants to try and ride across this gap on his own, and he doesn't want any passengers on his wheel.
These two need to help each other for the moment as time runs out for the others to get across this gap now. They split up here. Thomas Voeckler has gone. They're trying to put matters to right with Dries Devenens getting across the Voeckler. There's the gap. The two riders have got a very usable gap here.
Well, Voeckler looks over. He knows he's got the gap. He insists with his effort now on the front of that group, trying to bridge to these two men. It looks as if Van der Velde's got a good turn of speed on him here this afternoon. But as I've said again, Phil, the man that he's with, Pierrick Fedrigo, is a very prolific winner. He knows how to raise his game for a big day, and a big day like today.
One man who's really suffering is Samuel Dumoulin, the sprinter. He needs to get carried across there to use his sprint finish. We're under 4 kilometres to go now. Fedrigo and Christian van der Velde have got to keep the pressure on. They've got to help each other, because these four look to me as though they're getting a little bit reorganised now.
Well, you know, Van der Velde must remember that he comes from a track background. He raced on the track for the United States at the Olympic Games. He should have a good turn of speed, but he's got to get his thinking head back on now, because most of his victories, Phil, throughout his career have been in individual time trials or overall standings in stage races. He doesn't remember, he needs to try and remember how he used to sprint on the track.
Massive crowds as we approach the centre of Pau here now. At 2 kilometres to go, we're going to see a straight, a kink and a right turn, and then they're on the approach to the finishing line. They've made a perfect move in a perfect place, and Fedrigo, the danger, made it. This is a dual carriageway, this. We're on the right-hand side of it. It's perfectly straight until the built-up area of the centre of Pau. This is a beautiful city. We're coming here for the 65th time. It has been part of the culture of the Tour de France since 1903.
21 seconds is now the advantage. Thomas Voeckler there is still trying to get himself across. I have to feel a little bit sorry for Samy Dumoulin. His reputation went against him in this breakaway group here, Phil. They know how fast he is as a sprinter. That's why they've pretty much worked him over, as they say in cycling jargon.
Well, the bottle just got thrown away there by Fedrigo. He knows he's got a battle on his hands, because Christian looks very, very cool every time he catches it. Oh, look at that, Paul. The sprinter Dumoulin has been well and truly worked over. At 2 kilometres to go now. And they play a spread eagle. It's not over yet, but only 2 kilometres left to ride now. This is Thomas Voeckler round the corner. They're getting away and they're going out of sight.
Well, they've still got to work as a team.
This is the right bend.
This is the right-hand sweeper now. They've got to collaborate, Phil, right the way down until the final kilometre or so, because 16, 15 seconds can get wiped away very quickly. There's neither of these riders are showing any sign of weakness, but I wonder if Fedrigo, he's got those slightly bigger calves than Christian van der Velde. Van der Velde's got a very high-speed cadence when he ticks over those pedals. He's got to churn that at the end into sprinting speed.
Well, the only thing is that Fedrigo won. The only race he's won this year was the 3rd stage of the Criterium International in March. Christian van der Velde hasn't won, but they're now under 1 kilometre to go. It's virtually a straight road. There is a kink in it going to the left. Then it's a straight to the finish. I can tell you there's a marvellous crowd in the centre of the Place Verdun to see the Tour de France come here. But it's going to be decided by 2 men now for sure.
Well, Thomas Voeckler now is going under the 1 kilometre banner, 15 seconds adrift. The winner will come from this leading group of 2. Van der Velde has to do this. He has to force the Frenchman to lead out the sprint and hope he's got the acceleration to come off his wheel in the last 200 metres.
Christian van der Velde sits on the wheel. He will get to see the finish. I don't think he'll be coming round now. Fedrigo, he's got him in the front where he wants him. It's all about a sprint finish now. Fedrigo won here 2 years ago. He knows the finish in the Place Verdun, and he also knows, Paul, he's in the wrong position because van der Velde will wait now to open the sprint.
Well, I noticed van der Velde moved it up a gear there. He'd been using a very low gear up until this point, but he has to be in the right gear to have the jump and to have the power to come by Fedrigo. Fedrigo is waiting to make it a very short sprint.
The flags fly. Fedrigo looked over. He saw the kick by Christian van der Velde, and he's giving his best shot. Van der Velde's going to have to grit his teeth here because the gap is opening, and Fedrigo is going to win this stage of the Tour de France, and he's going to repeat what he did 2 years ago and win in Pau.
That pulled France level with Great Britain in the unofficial national standings as far as stage wins went, 4 apiece. Behind, Andre Greipel won a less than blistering sprint for 7th place, which was of no interest to Mark Cavendish. So the closest thing the Tour had to a day off left the standings untouched. Wiggins, Froome, Nibali the podium positions, with Cadel Evans and Jurgen van den Broek the only other riders within 5 minutes of the race lead. And let's check the rest of the standings as they'll be going into stage 16. Nicholas Roach is currently 13th, just under 11 minutes down. Dan Martin is 65th and will be trying his luck again in the Pyrenees. David Miller has his stage win now. He's 85th, 5 places ahead of Steve Cummings, who's still toiling away for Cadel Evans. Mark Cavendish is 144th and thinking about a 4th consecutive stage win on the Champs-Élysées. Bradley Wiggins carries the yellow jersey from rest day to rest day, and he, like everyone else, was glad to see it arrive.
I think just mentally for the boys, they've had a tough couple of weeks now, and the whole race is tied, so I think everyone's just looking forward to having a bit of downtime tomorrow before we get the last couple of days underway.